All right, so here you want to pick goalie, obviously. Do whatever and hit continue. And then do whatever you want here. Here, I would recommend you put the same stance as you would use online. So I'm using 16, which is a really beneficial stance for the tendencies that people have online. It's a little bit worse offline, but it's fine. So 6'5", 190. That's 86 kilograms and 196 centimeters. And then you hit continue, save, and archetype is going to be hybrid. And what you want to do here is instead of picking Memorial Cup or starting in the NHL, you want to start in Europe. And the idea here is that you want to play with a bad team so you lose the first two games, and then you can use the remaining weeks of the schedule of the calendar to basically use your training hours instead, right? So it's in the game, it's either you get training hours or you play games, right? So for this, let's say a low defensive rating like this one, for example. This, I do believe this is like from Hungary or something like that. Yeah, so these guys, I can almost guarantee they suck. So here what you want to do is going to be a pro settings, go to 4 minutes superstar, or whichever difficulty you, if you can handle superstar, you want to do superstar. Personally, I prefer that as well because it's the most challenging. So offline be a pro camera is going to be only for skaters, so don't ignore this one. This is not the goalie camera, just letting you know that. And then what we want to do here is advanced settings. No, nope, nothing there. Rules here. You want to have maximum penalties. Penalty scaling you want to have it like 3 or 4, I think is the most reasonable. I put coincidental penalty time scaling, I usually put it 3. And then if you want to have injuries on or off, that's up to you. Gameplay sliders, last but not least, right? So here, I usually turn off broken glass because it's just annoying, frankly. You want to keep this to standard. I usually don't adjust anything here. I usually adjust shooting, right? One timer accuracy is absolutely insane. So you can drop this a little bit. Also shooting accuracy for the CPU a little bit. And that's, I mean, you get slap shot accuracy is a little bit high as well, personally. In my opinion, I think that you can drop that a little bit. That's the only adjustments I would do. So 3 clicks down on each shooting accuracy, just give you a better chance at saving some pucks. And then checking, you can adjust this if you need to, the aggression. If you feel like your team isn't aggressive enough or the opposition isn't aggressive enough, you can adjust that. Penalties, I usually don't touch unless I see that there's not enough penalties. Because penalties does, if your team takes penalties, you will get more shots on you. So that could be a beneficial thing. So if you see that you have too low amount of penalties, you can bump this up a little bit. And then the AI, you want to stick to superstar and maximum CPU difficulty adjustment, okay? Dropping this down is not going to help you. In fact, it's worse. I tried to drop it down and it did not help at all. It made things worse. So don't touch that and let this be just default. Assisted strategies, basically you want to max this out to be a pro strategy adjustment. It doesn't affect you as a goalie, but trust me, your team in front of you will play better if you max it out. And then what you want to do is start career. So what you want to do here, personally, I put a lot of points into movement and agility, speed. It's going to help you, especially early on. Similar to with skaters, you want to put points into skating. When you're a skater, you want to put in movement. So that's what I'm gonna do here. And then obviously personally, I like to unlock these because they help you in conversations and can be very beneficial later down the line. But for right now, for the start of this, you just want to simulate to the next game here.
Champions League type.
So here, you can play these if you want to get a feel for the game, or what you can do instead is just simulate, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simulate here. Okay, we won 3-0. Interesting. So we actually kept a shutout.
How about that performance from the kid between the pipes?
That's ironic.
I mean, you talk about locking it down and a league against grown-ups. Hey, you know, that's the impressive thing when you look at young players.
So you want to simulate to the next Sunday. We lost,
you look at the maturity
4-2
with some of these veterans who may have been playing pro sports or playing pro hockey for 20 years.
on a shootout. However, we won 3-0, so that is still a 5-4 win on aggregate. So we're going to move on here. So now we're on the next Sunday. We're on the next Sunday, so now we should have more practice hours. Let's see. No, we don't. We have no training because we are still in the competition, right? So let's go to Ilves. And we'll likely lose to Ilves. I think you'd get more benefit out of playing this because then you will lose and you will get access to the training. But if not, just do this. You won't lose a whole lot of it. So just the main thing is, wow, we're actually doing this. 2-1 loss, 4-1 win. So that's what, 5-3 win on aggregate. Okay, okay, all right. We're moving on. We're in the semifinal in one of the. Yeah. Can we use training now? No. There's no training. See, this is the problem, right? Because you want to do the training, but you can't do the training if you're still in the.
We continue our look at some of the draft prospects and draft watch here. I'll tell you what, one stock that is absolutely soaring, in my opinion, you got to go to the Champions League right now.
So I'm first, which is not what I wanted.
And look at this young goaltender. There was a lot of hype and fanfare coming into this. A lot of people were unsure whether he'd be able to handle the test in the Champions League. He's passed it with flying colors. This is going to be one of the top picks in the NHL draft if he can keep this going because he...
All right, 2-1 loss and 2-0 loss. Okay, so we're out of the Champions League. All right.
I'll tell you what, one storyline to continue to watch. So with the Champions League final set, I do want to say this in closing. I was so impressed by that young goaltender who was so good throughout the entire tournament, and he deserved a better fate. He did everything he could to keep his team in it. I don't think anybody expected a young goaltender to play that way against that level of competition so consistently and to do it right up to the semis before finally being eliminated.
All right, so now we're going to do the training, right? Normally you would be farther along already in terms of growth, but you're not because you played the games instead. So what we'll do is we'll put another point in agility, and then here's where the training is, right? You have a certain amount of hours, and you want to prioritize core training, which is agility and speed. You want to prioritize screens, which is vision, and you want to prioritize. I don't like sprint because you see this, it's like not improving, like you don't get much for each. So right now I want to improve my gameplay. So core training, movement for recover, and that's pretty much it, because the rest you can actually, like 5-hole will go up when you play games, right? So I'm just going to put everything into core training. And then after that, you cannot go here, because if you simulate, you just simulate past everything. You need to go to calendar, and then you go to the next week. So Sunday, and you get, well, we got 2 more skill points. So can we? Okay, so we'll unlock speed again. And we want to get as many attributes as possible above 80. Okay, so right now we only have 2 more, so we're gonna put some into vision, and then we'll go back to calendar. So this is the tedious part. Like you can listen to a podcast or something while doing this.
And I'll tell you what, when you look at goaltending and top goaltenders for the upcoming NHL draft, look no further than the performance that we saw in the Champions League. That young puck stopper between the pipes was lights out throughout the entire duration of the tournament. He was great nightly, and you do not expect that from a youngster at that age. Man, he was good. Like, he was real good.
So putting points into screens is not a bad idea. Okay, now we got rebound control to 80. Now we look for other things like stick high, stick low, glove training, 5-hole, breakaway. So breakaway training is what we need to do now. But I'm still going to put the points that I can't use, I'll put into vision. All right, so when you're right here, you want to put in your training, and then you want to simulate, because you'll get into the draft. So now you're 16th of June. If you simulate to the next Sunday, you're going to go into the cutscene for the draft and everything. There we go. Draft results. We're going to San Jose, most likely. We'll see.
And one of the interesting scenarios that I've heard was there were conversations between the youngster and the Chicago Blackhawks. Yes, an original 6 franchise, and you look at some of the veteran talent that they have on the roster, and then some of the youthful movement that they're starting to work into this roster. How do I see that fit? That's an intriguing one for me, with the Hawks possibly going after him in this potential scenario. So a lot of moving parts here, but I'm intrigued with Chicago on this one. What say you? How do you feel about these potential moves? And that's
San
coming
Jose,
up still a
Chicago.
little later on in the show. Now back to the NHL draft combine, and
we'll see.
From what I heard
We'll
over
see
the
who
weekend,
takes me.
The youngster still making headlines, and he had a long conversation with the San Jose Sharks, and I was told by both parties that There was a really good fit and really good chemistry in the meeting. Now, take that for what it's worth. We'll see how things ultimately play out on draft day, but that could be a good fit potentially with the San Jose Sharks
And now we get an
in
agent
the Bay Area.
cutscene.
Hey, you know, as we get
Draft
closer and closer
position.
to the draft, one of the things that always
Projected
comes
to
up is what do you
be
do
picked
with a
number
goalie,
1.
right? And look, I think in today's day and age and trying to figure out what a goaltender is going to look like in 5 years at such a young age is a crapshoot. I'll tell you what, this kid is a first-round pick in my mind, and not just that, he is a top-round selection. This kid, I would
So
take
after the
high.
cutscene, you want to
think he's
go
got
in
all the
and you want to continue putting the training in. And then after that, you go to calendar, simulate to the next Sunday, and you'll get the actual draft. There we go. We get picked number 2 by Chicago. All right. All right, now we get to the next Sunday, and we continue. And this is what we're doing all the way to the preseason. And after that, you do whatever. You start playing games, and you'll improve that way. But this is setting you up for the best possible start. Obviously, you would want to go to a better team. You would not want to be a first round selection. All right. So what do we do now? We have more hours of training. We'll put in more breakaway training, more movement training, more record training, more rebound, whatever you want. You could also start putting into sprint if you want to get endurance and durability up. Do whatever. Right now, since I'm at 80 breakaway, I'm at 81.5 hole. I'm above 80 on the glove side. I'm above 80 on everything except passing, endurance and durability. Yeah. So now I'm going to start putting into sprint, and the rest is going to go into screens. It's not the most fun way, but it sets you up nicely for your first season in the NHL, which is what you want. So now it's actually recommending me passing, but I don't understand this. Like, why would I want to spend hours on passing? It makes no sense. So I'm going to keep putting into sprint and the rest in division. So don't go on what's recommended. Go on what you feel you want to do. It's your, it's your game. Play how you want to play. Do the choices you want to make. It's nobody else's business, really. This is just a guide on what to do if you don't know where to go or where to start. This is a good way of starting. So when you get to September, you'll start noticing that you'll get the preseason games, and then you won't have as many training hours to spend, but you'll still have some. So don't forget to put those in. But yeah, preseason should be here in September. Let's see. 1 more week possibly before the preseason starts. There we go. So now we're at preseason. 72 overall. If you lose the first round in the CHL, you can get up to 74 overall. So that is why you want to lose, so you have more time in the calendar to use your training hours.